Whoops. Howdy. Click too much. Oh no, I played a copper. Right. Today's board is Dark Ages only. It's probably rebuild, honestly. It could be, you could pick up Sylvia on your first 5. I think that would be reasonable. Dame Sylvia. That would be okay. There's no draw, so you can't really build an engine, and there's not really trashing to speak of either, unless Dame Anna's there. Or it's the top of the Knights pile. For those that don't know, the Knights pile are 10 different cards, so they all have this attack, same attack, but they have a different little bonus of, or standard effect, I guess. Otherwise, Scavenger Rebuild is like a pretty good synergy because Scavenger lets you keep putting rebuilds on top of your deck, and also it's just nice for hitting 5 at the start. Like Perfect Draw Scavenger Rebuild is extraordinarily fast for something that's super, super simple. Now, I mean, you're not gonna get Perfect Draw, but it can be quite quick with a lot of luck. The only other thing I can think about trying to do here is like, you really wanted to. This art is so blurry. You could go for death cards, I guess, with rats. I don't know. That sounds pretty bad, to be honest. But I guess it's something you could try, death cart rats, and just try to spike 8. But it's kind of tough. I mean, it's not like it gets to 8 on its own, and you'd have so much crud. So sometimes that's good against rebuild if you can buy like 3 provinces. Sometimes that's enough to make the rebuild being a hard spot. Anyway, I think I'm going to go for the scavenger thing. That's a pretty boring deck. They have, I guess, the 5-2, or they just really like beggar, which will be okay. I mean, as long as you're buying a rebuild on the opening, getting a beggar is pretty good. I mean, it's going to let you buy 5s, and it's going to let you. So this is already looking, I wouldn't say over, but not great. If they buy rebuild and then switch to gold, that's not as promising. I mean, the bot tends to do this actually when it plays rebuild, is sort of do a mix of like money to buy provinces and rebuild to do stuff, which I tend to think is worse than like going all one way or the other. But I suppose maybe I should have left. The silver was probably up there. I could have left it. The other thing that happens here is that you only have this overgrown estate at the start. Guess we'll discard and put the rebuild on top. So you only have one victory card to begin with, and you just move it up to estate, and then you move it up to. Okay. So that was quite a nice draw. This doesn't matter. We can just keep putting scavengers on top. And at this point with 2 rebuilds, I'm pretty willing to just buy duchies at this point. So like this is an example of what I'm talking about. Like the draws here are actually really good. And the bot must be drawing their overgrown, right? They still have it, don't they? Yeah. The bot must be drawing their OE with the rebuild, which is bad luck for the bot, but good luck for me. What else did we discard? See, we discard all this junk. So this is nice. Like we get to, I guess we can know it's left. There's like a silver left and a duchy. I mean, we might as well discard the whole deck and see if we can get both rebuilds. So we get to top deck a rebuild there. Again, this is kind of what I was talking about when I talked about rebuild running, rebuild scavenger running very smoothly. Like this is just pretty darn quick. And here we get to, again, we should still have one more duchy to do. So the question now for us is whether we want to buy an estate, which isn't crazy, though we'd really rather just buy the duchies and not have a two-step process. But like at this point, what did we toss? We tossed almost everything. So there's not a rebuild in this hand, this next hand. So it's not like hugely important that we buy an estate. Because we're not playing rebuild in the next hand. I guess the question is whether we know that it has 5. There's a province. There's one province. 2 scavengers. A silver. I guess it has to be the copper. We do hit 5 here. So we don't have to buy an estate yet. And this can either be silver. I think we have 5. I think we have silver, scavenger, copper. This can either be like another thing that's not, I didn't mention it, but Sage is pretty good for rebuild too. It lets you just skip over cards and get to your rebuilds. Though it's a little better earlier on. At this point, it also just draws provinces or duchies, which is not particularly good. I'm almost thinking about a beggar because we're at that point in the game where the extra dollar may be valuable, though we do have the 2 scavengers, so there's also potential for collision. Maybe we just do another silver. Okay, so I missed. I guess there was a province already gone somewhere that oh, 2 provinces here. Okay, I just didn't read it well. Anyway, not too important. We will put a rebuild on top and buy a duchy. So we draw the duchy here, which is not great. I mean, it's fine. What we're going to do now is we're going to trash a province into a province. Since we have the lead, we can decrease the number of points available to the bot. And just, so we can only, this actually wins. We don't get to upgrade both duchies, but we get to upgrade one of them, and then we can just name whatever and trash another province into a province. So we had really clean scavenger draws, which is going to make, like I said, I mean, 12 is, this is not bad for a deck that literally bought silver, scavenger, and rebuild. Turn 12 to have 28 points and ending the game is pretty, that's a lot of pressure for any deck to kind of deal with. But especially on a weak board like this, I mean, that's very fast. So yeah, we get really good draw. We never got to trash the hovel, which is, I guess, a little unlucky, but it doesn't matter. The bot had 4 beggars. I wasn't even watching the bot play. The bot had 4 beggars. I don't think that's the play. I'll go ahead and say that. But the bot also buys coppers, so it probably thinks beggars like the best card ever printed. Like I said, I think it was actually a pretty scary opening to go up against because I think beggar rebuild is quite good here. I mean, scavenger silver is good too, but if they use the beggars coppers to buy 5s instead of whatever else they did, more beggars, I don't know. Definitely the bot was a little unlucky with the rebuild draws at the start because it had at least 2 turns. I stopped paying attention once I got ahead, but it had at least 2 turns where the rebuild had OE, Overgrown Estate, in hand with it, so it couldn't actually use the rebuild effect to any good purpose. So anyway, good draws for me. Not the most exciting board, but this was sort of a classic, I would say, rebuild approach back when the card pool was smaller, like right when Dark Ages came out. Scavenger rebuild was quite a good deck, actually, by some standards anyway. Now obviously it's not always going to compete with a strong engine or something, but well, nowadays it wouldn't in general, but well, you just wouldn't see it that often because of the card pool size. But anyway, back in the day when the fewer sets and just when Dark Ages just released, That was something you had to play somewhat often, which isn't the best thing, but I don't mind playing it nowadays when you don't see it so often. Though it's always scary to play it against the bot because it's the kind of thing you can lose with. So, all right, well, there we go. Daily Dominion. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a good day, and I will see y'all tomorrow.